what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. For this week's guest, we have Alec Alstring all the way from beautiful Norway, that place that, you know, we all want to go on vacation one day, but as of right now, with all the restrictions, we will follow suit and not travel anywhere, but holy shit, it looks beautiful. Am I right? Norway? All right, Alec, Forum. That's when I first heard of him. That's when he caught my attention, when he was up in the mix. Not the Forum 8. After that, Forum Vacation, Forum Fuck It, that kind of era. Being invited to all the park shoots. Big icy park jumps at the end of the season that are covered in salt. That we all know in those Forum movies, it's just like if you were the young gun, it's like you show up, it's basically like, you're our park dude, so why don't you guinea this jump and, you know, hopefully you don't knuckle and ruin your summer. And he didn't ruin his summer at all. In fact, he absolutely crushed it so much that when Forum drove itself off of a cliff and ended inevitably, he got signed with Burton. And you got to wonder, you know, Burton bought Forum. Did Forum drive itself off a cliff, or did Burton buy Forum to drive it off of a cliff?
You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it. Truck tire. I can't stop. Help! There's a cliff.
When he was on Burton, was he happy to be amongst the club? Was it what he wanted? Was it like everything that's cracked up to be? You know, he gets signed on the biggest company in snowboarding, Burton Snowboards. It wasn't for him. And you want to stay glued to the end of this episode as he really opens up about, well, achieving everything that he's always wanted to achieve and what that felt like. He also filmed for like the Beacon, Louif's project, made his own similar style project to Louif called Void in 2018, an amazing movie. If you haven't checked that out, 5 years riding at X Games and coming in top 10. I mean, he got 4th. And I mean, he was juggling that with filming video parts, which I have, as we all know, so much respect for. And just truly one of the best all-around snowboarders to ever strap. I say that a lot, but let's just say every single year of Alec's career, I don't know if he is, he's a park jumper this year. And then the next year, I'm like, no. He rides quarter pipes and he's going to the Arctic Challenge. And then the next year, I'm like, oh no, dude, slow down. He's a POW dude. Like, he's deep out there in the POW, and that's all. No, he's a street rider, dude. He wants to relive his youth and he wants to hit some steel. Then the next year, I'm like, no, dude, he's like a Sam Taxwood. He's like everything combined into one. And then the year after, I'm just like, I don't know who he is, because he can snowboard on every single terrain better than everybody. And if you disagree with me, spend the next few hours watching all of his video parts in a row. Mind-blowing. Stay tuned, everybody. This episode is fire! Alright, big shoutouts to our sponsor, Vans. Simply the best snowboard boots in the world. Brian Iguchi, the GOAT. What is he wearing? He's got a pro model, the Verse. He's wearing the dual boa that allows him to get that click, click, click. You just zzz, and then you just pull and you're out and you're in and out, and you probably gain a full lap going to the dual boa system. I don't know if that's true. Some say you can get a full lap though. You can beat your friends out on a full lap a day because you're going dual boa. You know who else wears the boa, the Verse, the Brian Iguchi Pro model? You've guessed it, our guest, Alec. He's been laced up with Vans since 2017, and he has been wearing the Verse, and he absolutely loves them. Check him out today at your fine snowboard shops in your area. Support local, buy local, do it more than ever these days. Or, for whatever reason, if you don't have a snowboard shop in your area, you can always find these lovely boots and other boots that are suited to your funky feet on Vans.com or Vans.ca. All right, enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. We have, I'll say it, a legend. We got Louif on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm
Doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
What have you been up to? How have you been keeping busy these days? You're obviously, not traveling as much as you normally would be. What's it been looking like for you?
Um, I've been recently. We got some snow in Quebec, and for the past couple 4 years, we've been doing a little park in my backyard to kind of get the legs warmed up, and so that's kind of what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. Um, just kind of like every couple days, every other day, like riding in the backyard with Seb Picard, Phil, Jack a lot, Mammut, Anthony, and all those guys. Like
The
come
squad.
over, yeah, the squad, the younger dudes, a little bit.
That's an all-time cast right there.
Yeah, and then I've been parenting and trying to be COVID smart, but and then like trying to plan the season a little bit, and yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
given all the situations right now, I mean, I think that you're lucky that you live somewhere where there's A, snow, B, a slope, and you got some homies that board. Because I mean, I've been talking with some friends that live in places that don't have snow and don't have a slope, and they're like, because normally they would travel,
mhm.
but they're just trapped in their country right now until this is done. So
Yeah, for
luckily,
sure.
you're in a place where you can board.
Yeah, I feel very lucky for sure.
I watched a video with you not too long ago. You built a rainbow rail out of wood
Mhm.
at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah,
Is that still amongst the setup, or did that thing get? I haven't seen you board on it. That's all I'm saying. I saw you build the rail.
yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah, it is part of it. I kept it like in the summer. I put it in a little corner of the yard, and then I put it somewhere different. But it's good. It kind of starts the or quadruple line of rails, so it gives you
You have
speed.
a quad line.
Yeah, I have a quad line, and yeah, it just kind of gives you a lot of speed right at the beginning, so it's cool.
What's the quad line? Hit us with what you got in your backyard right now.
I got you have the choice between a rainbow wood log or a down rail, and then it goes into it's like a jammer up, flat down that you can. It's kind of like a flat rail, or you can jam from one end to the other, and then you have a pretty big round tube, and then you have like a quarter pipe, and then you can come back and sometimes do like a flat rail. So
Who's got VIP? Who's got the standout in Louif's park background? Who do you think's been thrown down the hardest? Who's been progressing the most early season?
on top of my head, there's Seb Picard, Mammut, and Phil Jacques they're kind of like regulars, and they just blow my
Bro,
mind every time they come.
yeah, those are all.
Yeah,
Um, all three of those in their own right are somewhat, um, almost underground, you could say. That movie that those
yeah,
guys filmed, Toonies, this year was absolutely mind blowing. I mean, those guys are kind of all guys you've taken under your wing, minus Phil, who's just a long time homie. But those
yeah,
other two, dude, like, holy shit. Like, they've always been on my radar for sure. And I've always really enjoyed both of their snowboarding,
yeah,
especially the last few years of Mammoth. Like, some of it, he doesn't snowboard like anybody else. He has his own distinct style. He's like charging, and those dudes this year went fucking in.
yeah, yeah. They, yeah, Mammut, he's got like 10 clips, and they're all like mind blowing. And then Seb he's got like 40, and they're all like very high quality. So it's kind of like two approaches, but two that I highly respect. And yeah, they don't necessarily need my wing. Actually, I'm not really. I don't know.
Well,
I would.
yeah, but it's still
I
nice to get like somebody with I mean, obviously you're very humble. Beyond humble is almost like, social media is not like your go-to strength, nor is I think it your focus in life in any way. It's just that you enjoy to snowboard and work hard and
Mhm.
film that. And I don't think that your priority is Instagram. I've never really thought that about you, But I mean, there's something about somebody who's filmed as much as yourself and has the credentials, you could say. When you're out boarding with people, it's like when you see Andrew Reynolds snowboarding with somebody, or you see like Ika snowboarding with somebody, it's sick because you're like, oh, those are the younger dudes that guy like fucks with or messes with, or whatever you want to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that.
Those are the guys I want to snowboard with for sure. Yeah. Like whenever I drop in, or like whenever I'm up there, like in my own backyard recently, or like at a spot or there wherever I'm at, and I'm next to those guys like strapping in, I'm like, this is sick because like these guys are like, you know, they're bringing the heat right now, and like, yeah,
Well, I mean,
like
there's
I
a
wouldn't want
different.
to be with anyone else.
That's
That's
the dream
sometimes
crew.
what I tell myself. Yeah.
I mean, the Bandwagon crew, if we go back to your early days, even like let's go before Bandwagon. What was your childhood like? Do you have siblings? What was your household like? What was growing up
Yeah,
like a kid for
actually,
you?
let's rewind like 4 seconds. When I said I wouldn't want to be with anyone else, I would actually maybe want to be with some of the Deja Vu homies,
Yeah.
that aren't there, but I wish they were there. But yeah, I grew up with one brother, 2 years younger, and I grew up like pretty like right outside of downtown, like kind of in a neighborhood that uh had some trees, some hills, some schools, but like quite dense, like a lot of houses. And yeah, we grew up together. Like my brother was my best friend for most, or for most of my childhood. And uh, in Quebec, there's a lot of hockey, but I never was into hockey. Like my parents never pushed in that direction. They would bring us, like what got me into snowboarding was that like at a young age we started going sledding, like at like the nearest park, or like there was a pretty good like wide open hill where we would just like toboggan and GT racer, and like,
Sick.
and then eventually that evolved to uh like getting a black snow, because like we would see like guys on snowboards at that hill, and we would always like, I'm sure like my mom and my dad would see us like, stare at them and be like, this is what I want to do, because it looks way cooler than just sitting on one. And we would try to like stand on our sled, but so we both got like a black snow. I feel like everyone, like I've heard other podcasts where, other of your in, or your guests that have black snow experiences,
Oh,
right?
a
I
lot of
think,
them. I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like that's like same with my
yeah.
childhood. My first day, and I'll never forget it too. It's so, snowboarding over the last 20 or so years has been pretty blurry, but those first few black
Mhm.
snow sessions, they're like ingrained in my head. Like I remember I was trying to, because before the bindings, it was just like the one I had just had the rope on the front, and then it had just it was like just spiky stuff under your
Mhm.
feet, and you would pull on the rope, and you could like, we were trying to rip indies and stuff. And I remember I did a front 180 with like holding the rope, and it
Wow.
was like, the ender of the session. I was falling a lot, but I got that front 180.
Yeah, that's my brother got a similar one to that, with like, it was like pretty hard plastic with spikes on top and the rope, and it had like a black top and a green base, and it had like full on like blades under, so
Yo,
that you would
same
so,
session.
so yeah.
100%.
And then mine was like hollow plastic with slider, like you would just like jam your feet in it, and it didn't have a rope or anything. You just, so
Oh,
mine was a little bit more like a snowboard, and it was like fully like, flat tail and like very pointy nose. And I kept that thing for a long time actually, and like we would use it on the trampoline, trying snowboard tricks, trying like practicing grabs and stuff. And
did that evolve? When did you get like invited? Did your school like have these like classes or whatever like that to snowboard, like outdoor ed, and you could like sign up to go snowboarding? And then did you get into snowboarding through that, or when was your first time on the hill?
my first time snowboarding was like I think my parents, they saw like how much we loved black snowing, and
That was dope. Yeah.
and they took us on like at, at like the following spring break. They took us to Montcomie in Rimouski, and they took us for like a full week of like snowboard lessons, and so we just rented the equipment for like a full week. And little fun fact, the week we finished the week by like we had one free day, like no classes or anything, and we both, my brother and I, wanted to snow skate, like early snow, not snow skate actually,
Snowblade.
snowblade, yeah.
Yeah, snowblading ruled.
So that was like the early snowblades were like just pretty much a ski boot with like a little piece of ski under, like not even like anything sticking out.
Yeah.
And but I, that was just kind of a stupid idea, and we went back to snowboarding after that.
There we had that at our hill as well, and I always thought it was kind of silly, and we didn't really get into it, and our hill wasn't really run professional at all. It's like you could kind of just do whatever you wanted to. It's kind of like a mom and pop kind of place. And I remember Jake would just, that's all Kuzik would do, is just get the snow blades, and he would just like run around the hill. It's like soap shoes, you know what I mean? And you could
Yeah,
just
yeah.
you could grind anything, and it's just like you're running
Yeah.
on your feet. Those things were
What's that hill called again?
Spring
Is that
Hill Winter Park.
Spring Hill? I mix it up with like Hayden's first hill, where I think it's Rabbit Hill or
Yeah,
something.
Rabbit Hill in
Off the top of my head.
Edmonton.
Mhm.
I've been there. I actually jumped on a quick call with Hayden before I jumped on this with you, and I just wanted to like, I was like, "Yo, so what was it like to film with Louif and stuff? Like, was it a good time?" And he was like, "Dude, it was a struggle. We butt heads. I didn't have fun." No, I'm kidding. He didn't say that at all. He just to quickly plug, because we're on the topic of
Mhm.
Hayden. He literally said that he's like, I actually wrote it down while he was saying, he said, "You're one of the most thought out, thoughtful, tasteful, focused on talent, progression, and like your work ethic and all that combination," which I think a lot of people have that work ethic, you know what I mean? But they don't really think about the rest of it, like what it's going to translate to on film. Is it different? And I mean, we can get into that a little bit later, but I just
Mhm.
thought that, when
That's nice of him. I
it was,
definitely, I thought we had like a really good chemistry with Hayden, and
yeah, you guys
I
clicked.
have like, yeah, a lot of good things to say
If
about him and his work. And yeah,
If we jump back though, we can touch base on that in a
yeah,
second. I
hmm
thought I'd
yeah, yeah.
plug that. But so before Bandwagon kind of all came together, who was like I mean, you're riding with your brother, who's also an incredible photographer. Um, was it just you two, or was the rest of the Bandwagon crew / Deja Vu crew up in the mix at that point, or were you not even friends with the rest of those like 7 or 8?
Well, like so, we we go on that spring break, and then the next winter we get snowboard equipment, both my brother and I, and then we start like lessons at this one hill called Le Relais, and we go there for like 2 winters. So for that time, it's just us, and then eventually we transfer, like we maybe stop lessons and we go to Stoneham. And at that point, we're a little better. We're a little more uh, freestyle oriented, and we, you know, we get dropped off and like picked up at the end of the day or something. So we have like a little more freedom. It's a little more like, um, and yeah, we started meeting these people like Will Demers and Laurent and Ben Billock. All those guys were kind of snowboarding together for because they were from the same area of Quebec, and so those guys are the first ones that like we kind of started hanging out with, and then there was like another crew with like Greg, Alex, Max B. Like those guys were kind of coming from like similar school, and I'm skipping years and stuff, but like it
Yeah.
kind of was like a collision of different crews on the same mountain, um because everyone would go to Stoneham, and it was kind of the hub for a moment, with like they had pretty cool events. They had like every Wednesday they would have like a rail jam called like Metal Wednesday, and like there, on at that contest, like all the crews would go there, and like there wasn't really any rivalry or anything, but you'd see like the other crews like you know do a good show, and those contests had like a podium every Wednesday night. There was like a podium with like free
No
prizes and
way.
stuff. Yeah.
Who was lacing the W's back then?
uh Larry was definitely there. Nick Sobe was probably getting some prizes for sure. Like those two were always like up there, and then Max B, whatever. I don't know. All those guys were,
Yeah.
but like Larry was always like top one or two, and usually he was like, and Nick too for sure. So yeah, like that's where it started, and um, then like then like we started making little. I mean, those guys like Wildermer's was always filming, so there was always like little videos getting filmed, and then like that other crew, like everyone was filming a little bit, and eventually it just kind of became we kind of all got together, and we got like under the wing of Sugar Shack.
Yeah, big
Um,
time. I remember that.
yeah, like because in the first Sugar Shack movie, I think like Nick and a couple dudes got some clips in it. Um, Back then we would also like all like we started going to Camp of Champions, and we started like spending our summers in Whistler, and that's also like a place where the different crews kind of became friends and like united in one crew. Was during the summer in Whistler, and we would even we would film in the public park, and we would film like we would try to make our way into Camp of Champions.
Yeah, the old snaking in.
Yeah, snaking in, or eventually we all like got jobs there. Like, I was a sandwich guy for a minute.
No
Greg
way.
was a digger. Yeah,
I remember Greg working there for sure.
Greg and I, we were lifties for like I was lifty for 2 summers, I think, and he was for maybe one, and then I stayed lifty, and he worked in the camp, and it was funny because I would like give him the T-bar, and he would like go straight into camp, and I remember I was like, shit, like I'm still lifty, and you're going in there, but yeah, man, I don't know. That's
That's how you. So did that all? So you guys all go to COC, and you guys all realize that you guys are incredible at filming, and you guys are all from the same hub. You guys get back from COC, and then you guys made a video before Bandwagon. What was the name of that one? It was like a black cover. I forget it. Laurent actually showed me when I did a podcast with him, and I was like,
yeah.
fuck, what's that movie? Because I knew that you guys made one before then, and I was like, damn. But I mean, Bandwagon is the
There's a
real big one that put you on the map for
yeah. I
me
mean
anyway.
there was a couple of Brothers Factory movies. There was An Army, maybe that's what he's talking about. That had a black cover. Then there was self-titled, and then there was
I
at
think that's what I
We.
was talking
I
about.
think I think the cover might be blue, but and then with Greg was making his own videos too. He made one called I can't remember. I have still total blank. But yeah, then like around the same time there was Sugar Shack, and they would like use some of our clips. Like I don't even know if I made it in like a Sugar Shack 1 or 2, but then the next year was when Sugar Shack was making or made the Bandwagon, and at that point they had taken us like more under their wings, and we went like on that cross country road trip, and a huge part of our success, I owe like a ton to Ollie Gagnon, who Ollie G, who he talked to snowboarder and he was like, "Hey, I'm like these guys in Quebec, they're the shit," or whatever. Like I don't know what he said, but he was like, "I'm
Yeah.
spending a lot of time with those guys. Like I'm going cross country and with those guys, and I need a rider." And Ben Fee came on the trip. I don't know if you've ever met this guy, but um,
No.
very very cool dude. Very like I don't know, authentic person. But so yeah, like Ollie G spent like so much of his winter there and or with us, and we got like he got us into Super Park around those years, and
Dude,
yeah.
when the Bandwagon came out, I remember me and Jeeves and my friend Chris and my other friend Anthony had a place rented in Tamarisk, and I'm Jeeves bought the Bandwagon, and when I moved into the place, he's like, I remember walking in, and I was like, it was probably November or December, and he's just like, "Sit down. Have you seen this movie?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "It's the best rail riding by far." And I was like, "Okay, sure." Like, I've seen Sugar Shack movies before, and I mean they were good, but like the rail riding was never mind blowing. In fact, it was
Mhm.
kind of just like pretty good. And then all of you guys had a full part in it, and all of you guys had tricks that were done. No one was doing lip slide to regulars proper. Nobody was doing back lips in the middle of the binding. Nobody was doing front blunts. Nobody was doing 5.0 180s without going crooked halfway down the rail. Like, you have a cab 270 on that down flat ledge that at the time was like the best spot in the entire world, and everyone was doing. I'd never seen a cab 270 to regular before. I remember being like, holy fuck. And then you guys hit that battlefield rail,
Mhm.
and there's always been clips on that thing, but I'm pretty sure you had a back 180 switch 5.0 and the back 180 switch nose press was in that movie
Mhm.
in Bandwagon too, if I remember correctly. And those are, I'm not 100% sure though. I think that was in that movie.
Yeah, yeah. I think it
Yeah,
was
I don't think
Miami.
anyone filmed the back 180 switch nose press before. I think that was like the first time I've ever seen that on film. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, there was some. I mean, I think like I don't know if you remember Chris Duffus. He actually had like a back 180 something that like it was kind of crooked and all that, but
Oh, in a
it was like
whiteout
on the down
movie.
ledge in I can't remember that. It was like in the film that had like a lot of contest retrospective, like but it was like
Wildcat's
at an
Diary.
extension fest. No, no, it was like a Mac Dog like event movie, if I
A Gong
if I remember
Show.
correctly.
I don't know. But when that movie came out, dude, me and Jeeves were tripping out. We were like, what the like, and that was like literally the standard from that day forward. Like, Andrew was kind of like our dude out west that was kind of like the forefront of jibbing and doing stuff like proper. And that's who me and Jake really looked up to. And then when that movie came out, I was like, wow, there's kids that are like close to our age that are filming video parts that are like seemed so far fetched. And it seemed like that movie went totally under the radar because I remember telling other people and they're like, I'd never seen that. I'd never seen it. I was like, this is the best movie out if you ride rails.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty like small production and yeah, like definitely smaller than like anything else out there.
You guys must have been pretty fired up though. When that movie came together, I'm assuming, and I've heard from Ben and LNP that in the editing room, it was like a bit like it was pretty serious, like if your clip wasn't done proper, it's getting cut.
For sure, yeah. That's I think why the standard was like so high, or like why like everyone is talking like so nicely about that video is because we were such like a group of like hungry dudes, or like like we were like, and I think we were pretty ruthless with like if someone's like if you're trying to trick and like I mean you're not like we're gonna tell you that it's that you have to do it again. We're not gonna like
Sugarcoat
because
it.
yeah, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. And but like I think it's nice to know too. Like it's like the standard is high, and like if everyone's like cheering, then it means it's really fucking good, like when when like if Larry is like clapping, because Larry was like like the hardest for sure. Like there's
Larry,
still
I don't even know who. I don't think I've ever
oh
heard this name before, but I
really
love how much
it's
it's coming up.
Laurent. It's just like so much easier than and yeah, everyone, I feel like everyone calls him Larry.
Oh, sick. I like that.
But LNP, I'll call him LNP. Let's do
Larry's dope, dude. I like Larry. I've never heard
LNP.
anyone call him Larry. I mean, I also spent not as much time with him as you.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, like the level, I think it was from being such a big group too, and like like kind of being in a friendly competition with each other in a way.
Well, you guys would you say you guys were best friends at that point, or were you guys just, people from a close hill that were just like kind of friends? Or at that point, are you guys close enough to be like, was there animosity between any of you guys? Do you feel like there was like, was it pretty like smooth sailing? Because when we were filming videos around that same kind of era, it was just like, me and my seven best friends, and you could literally say that difficult stuff like, yo, that shot's
Hmm.
getting cut because it's not good. But if there's like somebody you don't really know that well, I feel like that's when those soft kind of clips make it in, because the filmer's like, well, he tried really hard that day, and like we got to put it in. He worked so hard for that 50180. Like, he didn't press though.
No, we were not best friends, but like it was becoming like slowly we're like because we were in the same car all day every day. We were like in the same, like we were like 16 people or so, I don't know, like a huge group, and we would like but going on road trips and like splitting, like we would stop at Super 8 motel, and like we would get only two rooms, and split and like just split the mattress in half, or like put everything like on the ground, and just like, so we had to become like good friends, and we became best friends, but back then I think, I personally still had like high school friends, and I think everyone had like their other friends, and we were like snowboard snowboard friends. But I think like eventually you know friends groups evolve, right? And you lose touch with some, and
Yeah.
you become best friends, and now like those guys are all my best friends now, who I would spend like New Year's together, or Christmas, like a Christmas dinner, that would be with those guys. So
Yeah. Um, my one of my good friends said, there's two types of people in the world. There's people you would hang out with, and then there's people you'd go on vacation with. And if you'd go on vacation with them, you're actually friends with them.
yeah, I mean a trip like somewhere definitely tests friendship, I think.
Who was the
I guess
little
like
shit disturber back then? Like, out of that whole group, who was there? Like, one guy that was like not necessarily like somebody you wouldn't like. You're obviously all down with each other, but there was somebody that was like kind of didn't have his shit together, always forgetting his bindings, being a little brat. Like, was there somebody you guys kind of gave a hard time to?
about like forgetting stuff. I think like Nick Sauvé was always a little bit lunatic. um Larry was pretty like, he would always find a reason not to shovel, and like he would always find a reason to be dropping first too, like on the fresh shoveled setup. You look up and he's dropping in, and you're like, really? Like, are you are you serious? Yeah, those two come to mind real quick. But
That's amazing. I feel like I was kind of the Larry of the group.
yeah, can't blame you. Like excited to snowboard, really.
No, I'm down to work hard too, but I'm just like, sometimes I feel like it's fun to like be a little shit and be the guy strapping in while like Jake's still down
Yeah,
down there being like, it's not ready yet. I felt like I was a little bit of a shit for sure. After after the whole the whole Bandwagon movie came out, did that kind of like I feel like that would have changed a little bit for you guys because that movie comes out and you guys kind of realize, the rest of the pros put out all their footage and stuff. Did you guys kind of not feel like, fuck, like we're on that level? And I think people are kind of figuring it out. You know what I mean? Definitely started a little bit of a buzz after that. And didn't that quickly, you were on Burton at the time. Did that translate into you filming for VG the next year or 2 years later? Or like, when did that, because you were in the first VG movie.
Yeah, yeah. The year after was I stayed with Sugar Shack for another year, which it was called
Keep talking or something?
Try This at Home.
Try this at home. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
And at that point, like Nick had gotten an opportunity to film with Forum a little more, and then Larry and like the whole Rome squad went to film for Any Means. Um, I hope I'm correct on all this, but so like there was a crew that stayed with Sugar Shack, like Alex Canton, Ben, Phil. Or did Phil get like the Capito movie First Kiss? Like I think he maybe got clips in it, but I'm pretty sure he had like his first. Phil wasn't really in Bandwagon, but he was in Try This at Home. So, anyways, Try This at Home. That was my first year. I got like Ollie Gagnon actually connected me with Solomon Snowboards, and the year after was These Days. I got
Oh
the
yeah, the
opportunity to
Transworld
film for the
movie.
first, yeah, Transworld
Yeah.
movie.
That was your break. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Bandwagon, I think, like, was the one that put you on the map. But these days was that the Cab 350/50 and stuff, or the Back 270? There's the 1 year where you went and filmed and you did the Back 270 to switch.
yeah, that was actually I think my first day filming
No way.
for These Days with Joe Carlin.
And Joe shows up and you do the Back to. You're like, game on, let's do this.
Yeah, well, like first of all, getting that call like to be in the first Transworld snowboard video was like so crazy because I was like such a fan of um, all the Transworld skate videos. Like those were like some of my favorite first skate movies. Like I would have them on VHS. Like we would tape like a bunch of them on just one VHS, and I remember like tripping on the Reason, and before that I had the Sixth Sense, which is like a pretty old one, but um, so yeah, like it was kind of like a dream come true, and I might have heard that like that was from Laurent not being able to participate in it because he was filming for another Rome movie, and like I think like the T or someone like gave my name instead of Larry, so that was pretty cool. But
However you got in there, you're like,
yeah,
I don't give a shit. Get me in this movie. Let's
yeah,
do this, dude. And then Joe shows up and you're like, all right, let's like game on, Back 270 to switch. Nobody's seen that clip. Mind melter.
yeah, because I had just learned that trick like at the ice rink actually, like in the fall, and then I was like, let's start with like a mellow spot. Like let's go to this down bar, but then like I think I can do this trick. So yeah, I think it was. If it wasn't the first clip, it was like definitely one of the first, but I think it was.
And Joe just trips out and he's just like, I'm so happy I came up here.
Yeah. No, yeah. For These Days, I was fired up, and then like that's where during These Days, kind of met up with all those dudes, and all like the California people, like the like
Ashbury crew.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lance, Mike, Nima. Um, must have met with Justin too, and like
Mikey, the whole crew.
yeah,
Because then as soon as These Days happens, I mean, then the year after VG starts and then it's Bon Voyage and then it's like,
yeah,
yeah, game on. I mean, I feel like the tough thing about when you talk about all these video parts that you filmed is, holy fuck, they also start smashing together into one. You're like, which video part? What era?
What
When
trick?
was this? You're like, this is all 10 years ago now. Like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was yeah, definitely these days was kind of like the would put me on the map. Like I think like for the core people that paid it really close attention, maybe Bandwagon was, but then like I think these days definitely elevated me. But at that point, like my crew, we all had like different uh opportunities, like a little bit. Like Larry, I feel like Larry and Nick were already gone, you know? And
I mean, there's always like a certain level of that firing you up too. You know what I mean? The home,
for
like
sure,
you're part of Bandwagon, then two of your homies, one of them's going and doing well with Forum, the other one's doing well with Rome,
for
and
sure.
then
You're like,
you're
oh
like,
shit, it's
yeah,
possible.
like it's an achievable
Yeah,
goal.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, if you have an opportunity, Trans World VG, you're like, what was it? Do you remember what was like kind of in your head? Like, did you were you like, I want to film the best video part that I can film possible, or are you like, I'm going in, I know that I can achieve and be like one of the best rail riders? Like, what was in your head back then? Do you have do you have any recollection? I'm just trying to like, because I've since the beginning of time for me, it seems like you've always just been a little bit ahead of everybody else's snowboarding since that first back 270 to switch. There's every year you would come out, there'd just be a few tricks that were nobody else was filming. You know what I mean? Like the whole like wall ride to rail thing, and then the wall smash to kind of the flip, the back 270, and then the 270s pretzels. And I mean, like there's just so many tricks year after year. Where I was just like, it's just it's more exciting for me to understand where that came from. Like where did that drive come from?
I think it came from my like influences like earlier uh watching like videos uh like the Mag Dogs and Robot Foods, and really like I think connecting with like whatever was new, like what like for example, like I have in mind like JP Walker and David Benedict and Travis Parker and those guys. And every new part you would see something new that you hadn't thought about or that you had never seen before. Like those were kind of like my influences that I was just like, whoa, like this is a new idea. This is, you know, like you would always look up to, yeah. So I guess like, yeah, progression. I'm early on, like I was like, there's definitely more new stuff to bring to the table. Like there's new tricks to think about. Like,
Was there anything like, and also another thing that's always been like a thing, and it's not a thing, is if you're, if you're Japanese, if you're European, if you're Canadian, if you're from South America, it's just so hard to break into that American, like Hollywood scene of snowboarding. And then it seems to me that it's even harder, especially in the early 2000s, that if you were a French Canadian rider, it was like, oh, you're not only Canadian, you're French Canadian. And it was just like, I remember hearing stories from, oh, fuck, I forget who, maybe Etienne Gilbert and stuff, saying that like, oh, you think it's hard? Like he was the coach at Camp Champions, and I feel like it was him or something like that, was saying like he thought it was hard being a Canadian. You should try being a French Canadian, because they wouldn't even sponsor us because our names were like different, or because we couldn't speak really good
mhm.
English. And if you'd go on a trip with these people and you couldn't speak English, right? And a lot of you guys would be primarily speaking French, and you go on a trans world trip or you go on a videograss trip, and then there's not only, you're shy and stuff because you're a young kid, but there's like a language barrier.
Yeah, there was a language where, you know, I knew English, but like writing and like reading is was a lot easier than speaking it. And yeah, and then like I think in the first These Days part and VG, I think like I heard a lot of people say like tell me like, oh man, you did so much progress with your English, and um, definitely like on the humor part, like on jokes, I would always be out, like not there at all, and like yeah, like on so many things, so many references still to this day, like people will just, say like a movie quote, and like a lot of those movies we see in dub French, like not anymore, but like all my childhood, like all those famous movies that I've seen, all the like I know the French version, so
Yeah.
um
Were those trips like easy though and comfortable? Like were you when
yeah,
first
yeah.
trans world trip, like you get there,
First,
like
so my
you're into it?
Transworld crew were like Nick Dirks and Jonas Mitchell for the most part, like,
Wow.
and
Sick.
Jared Hoddy and those guys, like Gary Milton was the filmer. I don't know if you ever met this
Yeah.
guy. High energy, passionate dude. Like I love him. Who else did we meet? Like then we would those guys came to Quebec. That was our first trip, I believe, and then I went to Minnesota. We met up with like Jay Coey. I remember when he had long hair and stuff, and um, no, those guys were super welcoming. They were like just as new as I was,
Yeah.
but on those trips I feel like they opened my mind to a lot of things too, like a lot, like on the Pacific Northwest riding, like those guys had like more riding, I feel like more like mountain experience than I had. Like our hills are tiny here compared to theirs, so I feel like they definitely like opened my mind a little bit. And
Jonas was a really sick jumper, like way back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah,
Like he spent a lot of time at
in Colorado, I believe.
Colorado,
Yeah.
exactly, with the whole like academy kind of crew and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And he was definitely out there just getting it. Mission 6 Academy. Yeah, I was a big fan. That
Smooth
movie was
style.
freaking epic. So that was a pretty all-time crew to be surrounded with for your first kind of year. I mean, they're all new, you're all new. And then did you feel like it was like hard to to snowboard without your crew anymore? You know what I mean? That comfortability and not like, and just being like kind of like with these like, I remember the first kind of few times I would go filming and it wouldn't be with my regular crew. I'd be like a level of like, there's something nice about filming with people that you know well.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
you're also probably just like froth central, like, okay, here we go.
yeah. I think at least like I think if like those guys were just as like passionate and like hungry as I was, I feel like, and we were all like we that was like a big opportunity and to get like in that Transworld video, and uh, at least I think I we were like all kind of on the same excitement level, and like I think I invited Alex to come with us, and I think he was in that video, and then he made it into VG2, but um,
Yeah, there's like the
so
whole
I
crew.
rode with them a little bit, but yeah,
The whole crew kind of started blowing up quickly there. And I mean,
yeah,
it's like the entire Bandwagon crew in like the 2010 kind of era, every one of you was getting it. Like,
yeah. Everyone found the spot for sure.
yeah,
Like
like
Nick was
everybody had
big in
their own
front,
spot.
and yeah, yeah, which was crazy for sure. Like we all kind of spread out in different projects, but like all on like all on cool levels, you know.
You
And
guys went out there and crushed it. I mean, like you said,
yeah,
you did Transworld, then you did VG, and then which were both amazing projects. But then when did you guys kind of start talking about doing this whole deja vu thing, which is
it
kind
was
of when I kind
it
of
was a
feel
couple
like
years.
we went to Colorado together for early season for your second year of filming for the second deja vu. and I was just kind of like, I stayed on your guys' couch for like a month and got a glimpse into your friendship, and it was pretty cool to witness. I went to Colorado, and yeah, with all you guys, and the
Yeah,
whole
that
crew
must
was
have been
there, and me and Belzil, and we
a
were
little
just me
crazy
and Belzil are
French.
staying with you guys, and I was like, yeah, it was sweet to be dominated in the sense that you guys were just speaking French, you know what I mean? It wasn't like,
Yeah,
and Matt speaks French, and then there's just me floating around, and
yeah.
Hayden. Oh, that was so sick.
Oh, Hayden was there too, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that was like, so there was a couple VGs for sure. Uh, Bon Voyage, like then there was like a
Shoot the moon.
couple of real snows, like Shoot the Moon. Because yeah, real
Yeah,
snow started during Shoot the Moon, I believe.
yeah, when you did the board slide on that wavy concrete roof, I've always wanted to see
Mm,
somebody backtail that. I don't know how
uh,
that's even possible, but I've always envisioned somebody somehow pressuring through a backtail on it.
that'd be cool. I think it's gone now.
Oh, all right. Well, board sliding done.
Yeah, I think I tried going sideways backwards on it right after the board slide, and it like did something weird that I didn't like, and I was like, I'm
Nope.
out. I got like a clip or something. And but yeah, that was maybe like 4 years after VG was everyone kind of like did their thing, and we were like, we had a little meeting, and it's actually I think Greg that brought the the idea on the table, like while he was already like kind of out of trying to like film snowboard parts. He was starting Plenty, and he like sat us down, and I think he was maybe seeing it from an outside perspective, and he was like, you guys should maybe all get together again, and I would like to film it, and like with the help of someone else I would like to direct it or something. And we were like, crazy idea, but makes sense, like, yeah, let's do it. So we did, yeah. So that winter we were all doing something else, but we did like a we we did a prologue, like a kind of like a teaser project for the following year. So the idea was like to tease it, but also to kind of show maybe like our sponsors that we could do it, and like sell them the sponsorship idea.
Yeah, were they behind it immediately, or were they at the first? Did you have some doubt from your brands, or were they behind it the whole time?
Well, we did one kind of trip in Sherbrooke, and it was like a pretty good. It was a success, I guess. Like, it felt good. Like the chemistry was there. The can you say the vibes were high?
Yeah, the vibes were high, dude.
It was fun. Like it was super fun, and we were like super productive, and like yeah, like we made a cool edit with it, and the next year, yeah, like I feel like our sponsors were all down. Like I at that point, I think they were trusting like whatever we wanted to do. I don't remember like anyone having a hard time like getting their sponsors in, but
Well, I mean, yeah, and then you guys make this movie, and they're all a super big success. You got video part of the year with Encore.
yeah,
And was that your first? I mean, you
the
were
first one
also,
was Deja Vu. Like it was Deja Vu, and then Encore was the 2 year. Like the 2 years after that, we did like a 2 year project.
yeah, and that's the one you got video part of the year, correct?
Hmm.
And you at that time you were also winning like X Games gold medal. That was kind of a weird thing. You're kind of incorporated with VG, you're riding for Ashbury. You kind of have that whole vibe. When X Games approached you, was this something you wanted to do, or are you kind of like, this is kind of like not what I want to be doing with my life, but the money could be good, or like, what was your thought when X Games approached you?
No, the first year, I was like, whoa, like never thought of this. Never thought this would be an option. Uh, like on paper, it sounded cool. Like it had to be done for January 2nd. So in my head, I was like, cool, like this will be done, and I have the rest of the winter pretty much. Like nowadays, like I feel like I don't even start filming until January 2nd. So
Me neither. I remember when those videos would come out, I was still on DC, and I remember Anto texting me and being like, "Yo, you got to get out here, dude. People are getting full parts right now, and like we need to be filming." And I was like, "I'm not coming out there until January, dude. I got to get my legs moving. Like I can't just get straight into boarding. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm,
like one of those like warm up kind of people." And then I would get out there a lot of the time in January, and I remember once or twice being at Anto's place and all those parts coming out. And the
mhm,
one year in particular where you had the cab over 270 on that long down rail and stuff, and just being
mhm.
like, fuck, dude, wow. You guys went, yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was in Stockholm. But yeah, I think like back then I remember reading the suggestion like and like it was they would give you like something like 12 I don't know, like $12,000 to make to like just to be in it, just
No
like to
way, just to
produce it.
make it.
And then the prize money, like the potential prize money was like 50 for first place. I think it was the first year, I think it was 50 for first place and then 50 for like public choice, for like
Didn't you win
viewers.
both?
I did, but like not within the first years. I think I did like on year. No, I never won both. I don't think.
Okay. Oh no, you won the
No.
one, and then you won the live
Yeah, yeah,
rail
yeah,
jam.
yeah. But yeah, so like when that came in my emails, it was like, hey, we are, hey, X Games here. We want to give you 12,000 just to be in it, and then you have the chance to, um, yeah, like you could win 50K, and I was like, and all you have to do really like is to film snowboarding like you would usually, like you would normally do, right?
You're
So like
like,
that kind of like goes in the criterias. So I did 4 real snows. I did like 3 good ones, and then I mean I'm still happy with the fourth one, but the fourth one didn't really get any results.
you won
But
for,
yeah, I
because
did
you have
4 years back to back.
you got 2 X Games golds and 3 silvers, if I'm correct, which is pretty sick for someone who's like really. When people think about you, I don't really think of like that whole like X Games guy, but
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like you don't have like a rock star like logo or whatever. That one was kind of like I always wondered.
yeah.
I remember having some discussions with people back in the day. I was like, I really hope Louif doesn't ride for like Rockstar because Deja Vu got sponsored by Rockstar, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't get a star on his board. But you never did go in that direction, and I think it was a good look for you, obviously.
Yeah, it could have been, you know. Um,
Because I feel like there was some tension with that when that happened. When Deja Vu got sponsored by Rockstar, I remember talking with maybe Ben or Alex, and half of you wanted to go with it because they were going to spend good money, and the other half was like, "Fuck that! I don't want Rockstar to present the movie." And
yeah, I mean, I think we were all down for we were down for the budget that was coming with it, but we didn't really like the logo or what it meant, and
yeah.
we were constantly giving shit to like the dudes in the crew that were wearing it on their head, but like in a friendly way obviously, but like constantly like you know just like
Well, I mean, even still, dude, like the
yeah.
clips that people on Rockstar have to do to keep on Rockstar, it's like Rockstar Barry punches out, and then someone like has to do this horrendous Instagram post. I'm like, oh man, like I actually just did a podcast with Alec Allstring. He
Uh-huh.
says what's up, by the way. I
What up,
told him I was
Alec?
gonna do one with you, but his whole MO was like not riding um for brands even if you for the paycheck. Because he was like, I was getting my biggest paycheck ever from Burton, and he's like, I've never been so unhappy because I was like had all these horrible obligations I didn't want to like
Uh-huh.
fulfill. And I think that your one time on life goes pretty quickly. And I think that there's a level of, I mean, to each their own, but, some people are happy just taking the cash. But for me, like, or someone like yourself, I'm sure. Actually, this is something I'd like to ask you. Did you ever have that presented in front of you to ride for an energy drink company?
Um, sort of like when they when they wanted to be in the project, they wanted more riders to be like to wear a Rockstar, and someone that was already on it, I think it was maybe Nick, who he was constantly talking to his agent, and they're like, hey, they would like to talk to you about maybe getting on Rockstar, and I said, I'm good, like I, you know, I'm good. That's what I I was like, let's like offer it to someone else.
Did you
um,
even get the number or anything, or did
no,
you
I
even get
didn't
that
I
far?
didn't I didn't even get like like in the conversation at all.
Wow. And you were kind of repping drink water back then, so I remember that would be a conflict of interest. I think that it
Yeah,
would
for
almost
sure.
be like an identity crisis for yourself. If you would have for an
Yeah.
extra 2,000 a month or 3,000 a month or whatever it is, you would put that star on and you would just probably wonder who you were.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I never know. I definitely just saying no to that, I definitely spit on like some good money for sure. But
Yeah. I mean, you've always affiliated yourself with brands that I feel like do a good job of representing who you are. What was it like when you got that call from Adidas? Like, was that something when they called you, you were kind of like, no, like not really what I'm into, or were you like right off the bat super
no,
fired
I
up?
was actually fired up. I was like, that was almost like a dream come true in a way, because even before they were into snowboarding, I was like, I don't know why, but I was down for Adidas for like for that soccer, like they were into skateboarding, and their skate team was really cool. I thought they're like what they were going for was like, not so much like, not so mainstream, not so flashy. They were kind of going for like the quick feet, like I don't know, they had good taste, and I was like, man, if they come into snowboarding, that would be so sick. Like I would be so down to ride for them. And then they come into snowboarding, and they had a couple years, and they had like Keegan and Forrest and Jake Blauvelt, and like all dudes that I respected and looked up to, and then and Evan was working for them, and I knew Evan, and I was friends with him, and like it was cool to for him. He like one time he just tested the water. He like uh he must have given me a call or something, but he was like, hey, I don't know if I can really make this happen, but I really would like to like put you on Adidas, and I'm gonna work with like, whoever's high, like the higher ups, and I would like to make it work. Like, do you think you can make me like a portfolio? And I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll make you a portfolio. And it actually took like a you know a lot of time after that to really kind of get like the yes. But
What did the portfolio look like? Did you just put together your video parts, or like did somebody make you an edit of all your footage smashed together? Or
no, the portfolio was like a it was like a PDF actually. but like but like with photos, with like
did you have a cover letter like, "Yo, what's up? My name's Louif." Like, yeah.
no, I think it was like all like kind of like, do you say accolades or like,
Yeah, like
so I think I must have had like a couple like real snow like medals, and then like I think I had like video part of the year at that point. So I had like a photo to go with that, and then like just a short line under like saying like
yeah.
2003 or 2000 whatever video part of the year, and then like next year it's like I like I got invited to Nixon Jib Fest one time, like the like
Oh yeah,
the
the
later
re-up, the
version.
re-up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the re-up, and I had like
Did you win that?
I had gotten, yeah, for like
You,
MVP
E-Man,
and
and something. I remember.
oops. Yeah, I had gotten like MVP and I gotten best trick, and like so that was in my portfolio, you know.
Let's talk about that for 1 second. What was the Jib Fest like? That was a pretty, I mean, reflecting on it, you have like, you did go there with like one of your best friends, Laurent. I think, I don't know if Nick came, but like, Sexton, E-Man, Simone, JP.
Chris
I mean, Chris
Grenier.
Grenier. Yeah, like the list was really thought out.
Mhm.
I remember being like, oh, this is going to be kind of dated. They're going to invite the wrong people. And when I saw them put together that whole list of people, I was like, whoa, that's a really sick list of different
Mhm.
snowboarders that ride rails
Scott
to get
Stevens
together.
was there.
Yeah.
I remember he was like doing so much cool shit, and I remember actually like getting called like for first place, and I remember being like I think like tapping on Scott's shoulder, being like, "Man, I you should have won" or something. Like, such a like an awkward little thing to do, but um, yeah, like that's a blur. That's a blur. The Nixon Jib Fest. I don't remember. It was in Tahoe at like I think Sierra or something, and I just remember there was like a big Nixon logo wall ride that like I did like a hand trick on it, and that was the best trick. But yeah, I remember we there was like a cool double line. Um, but yeah, there was like Jeremy Jones, JP Walker, um, Gunnerson was
Yeah.
doing all that stuff, and
The OG Nixon crew getting together.
yeah, yeah.
That's dope. And then how did,
But like I remember though, like seeing the OG Nixon Jib Fest on like in the Mag Dogs video, you know, and like with the coolest soundtrack and
yeah.
like the film clip, like actual like 16 mil clips, and like you know, it just wasn't that, you know,
Yeah. No.
like the original like was looked so sick with like the super high, super tall like C rail that was like
Yeah. The
you
C
know,
rail,
yeah, like
Kevin Jones and Dave Downing.
no shirt back 270, like
Yeah, those clips, those photos are everyone has do-rags and like, Nate Bozung's got like what did he used to wear around his a necktie as a belt like
yeah,
so yeah, I love that old Jib Fest. There's two Jib Fest movies, I don't remember, but either way, I loved that shit when I was growing up. I was so down with Nixon for that one event in particular.
yeah. Mm.
And then uh, Adidas. So you're happy, you're signed with Adidas. It's the best thing in the world. Your girlfriend is ecstatic. I'm assuming. Are you still on them? Are they completely pulled out of snowboarding? Well,
Oh, right now for Adidas?
yeah. Like, do you still wear their
Um,
boots or?
no, I wear Solomon boots. Um,
Awesome.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
did you get dropped? Or is that your first sponsor that what happened there? Like, why did they just pull out of nowhere? What was that phone call like? I mean, you get on them, you film.
It was a shitty phone call. It was with Wiz, who's my really good friend, and uh, yeah, the phone the phone call. It's funny because it's like, "Yo, how are you doing?" And you're like, "Good, man. How are you?" And it's like, I've been better," and you're like, "Oh shit, something bad's coming." But yeah, the thing is like, snowboarding was under originals and like skateboarding, and then it switched under a totally different category, which is Terex outdoors, which uh, you know is cool. It makes sense because now they're making like their snowboard gear is made by people who make outdoor gear versus like streetwear stuff, you know. But yeah, I think like when they went under that, they were like, "Hey, we don't actually need like a full team of snowboarders. We only really need like one influencer." So
So who did they
that's kind
pick?
of like what. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. Is yeah, I got the call, and it was just like my contract was still like a couple months up, and Wiz was just like, man, I'm sorry, like this is I'm just like letting all the team go like today. Like I'm calling everyone back to back or something.
No.
I was like, shit. That's but they actually still have a couple dudes on. They have like Nick Baden, big respect. Um Jared Elston and Jed Anderson.
Jed still rides for them?
Jed
Shit.
still rides for them, and Tommy Gets Me is still on. If I yeah.
Wow. No way. Yes, I thought they were fully done, like exited. I didn't really realize that they were still in.
They've been pretty silent, but I think they're preparing like a relaunch, but
A relaunch. They're gonna
or
do the
like they're 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 gonna have to do something to tell people that they're still on, but
That seems insane. What was it like? Okay, so because you filmed Beacon under Adidas.
Mhm.
What was that project like? I mean, you filmed with Hayden. As we mentioned earlier, Hayden kind of said some nice things about you. He enjoyed his time working with you. Um, Beacon,
Beacon.
that was like you guys like kind of went against the grain. What was that whole project like? Like you guys were like, let's do our own fucking thing or something, because that video was awesome.
Yeah, well, so I think it sparked with like Hayden and I. So I met Hayden when I asked him to do my real snow for the first or my first real snow. That was my introduction to him. I was like, I got the invite, and I was like, shit, okay, who do I do it with? And I asked like, uh, I think Alex and was it Frank that I just filmed with them for Transworld for like what's that film called?
I
Enlightened. Yeah,
Oh, there you
Enlightened.
go. Yeah.
Um, and they were like, yeah, man, that so I didn't know him really much at all, but I just kind of got in contact with him and he was down, and so we did that first one together, and then like we did the four, and then we did like Deja Vu, Encore, and during those years I think we got a connection, and we were always like kind of talking and being like we could do like something a little different, we could do our own thing, and around that same time Snowboarder Mag, uh, they kind of like put that in front of me, and they were like, hey, we'd like to like produce like a your own film if you'd like. And I was and like all my sponsors got behind me and Hayden, and that was like, yeah, we got like full support from pretty much everyone that sponsored me at the time, and like Smith, Solomon, uh, Adidas,
I mean, why the hell not, dude?
and the kind like that, all those guys put in like the same amount, and they were like, you do whatever you want, or like kind of deal, like full support. And I think it kind of like gave us like a lot of
Creative
motivation.
control.
Yeah, creative
I mean, you
control
guys
and
made a
freedom.
yeah, and going into that season, do you feel like you were the most motivated you've ever been? Do you think you'll ever be able to work that hard? I'm imagining like that would be the pinnacle of you working hard. You have your own movie, all of your sponsors are behind it for big dough. So there's a lot of, I mean, untold pressure to like put out something that not only you're proud of, but that's going to make your brands equally like across the board happy. So you kind of have to worry about, making them happy. And then you fucking pull through big time. You guys make an amazing video.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I think like the stars must have aligned for that, but I don't know. We were just like in a good flow, and yeah, just yeah, like good trip after good trip. Like we started with the Quebec trip, and then we went to Japan, which is the that like closing segment, and then Then we went to Russia for that kind of crazy in like Kamchatka trip with Tommy and Mark, and then and Artem and Ben. But
I love those. That whole section was awesome.
yeah, Russia was cool for sure. Like
Hayden's editing was
such a cool place.
phenomenal, and this trick selection too, so different.
Yeah, it
There's
was
some,
cool.
yeah.
It was cool to have like I don't know, like Tommy in Russia was cool. You know.
What was it like to link up with Tommy off the bat? You guys are like on Adidas, so you guys get kind of thrown together. Did you guys like homies click, easy to hang out together?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's like younger than me, and um, yeah, definitely very easy. He's like motivated. You know, he looks like you'd think he's like kind of like maybe lazy because of his lazy style a little bit. Not lazy style, but like all relaxed style. And
Yeah,
but he's
chill.
actually like you know quite like he's a hard worker and he's like
I
ready
mean
to do it.
that says a lot for you to say that, because I would consider, dude, you in like Quebec breeds different types of boarders that are willing to work 5 times harder than other people. Like when I would film with Anto for those few years, I wasn't built for this, dude. Like this is crazy. Like getting up at like 5 in the morning, going to Tim Hortons, and then I'm like still asleep, and he's like, "Get on the snowblower." I'm like, "What's happening right now?"
Yeah.
This,
I don't even know if I could follow Hento, honestly. He's like on a
Anto's
different level. He's on
he's
like
he's
firefighter
Superman,
schedule.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is literally Superman. But no, you're the same way, dude. Like I feel like you're not going to bed and just chilling. Like you're the next day, you're like thinking of the clips and you're thinking of the spots that you have to shovel. You know, you're shoveling a lot of those spots. If you don't shovel the night before and stuff, they're just not going to work. Like you need everything to get hard overnight so you can keep your speed up, and then you have to shovel Hayden's spot so Hayden can keep his speed up as a cameraman, and then Hayden falls and probably gets pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Fucks up his filming, and then you have to do it again. Like you guys filmed a lot of lines. That must have been pretty stressful.
Yeah, that's a lot of shoveling too. You're actually reminding me this, but like whenever you're doing a follow line, it's like you're setting up your spot, but you're also setting up the line for the follow cam,
Oh yeah, you
like to
can't
be
get
to be
lit.
all smooth and to be like
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like
And
Hayden's
you're
line
actually like
can be
you're definitely
choppy.
thinking about the timing too, and like it's like 3, 2, 1, drop. You're like trying to drop at the same time, and yeah,
I mean, you guys did it. You guys did it, because there's some clips in there that are buddy. The same with, I mean, was Hayden filming Blender and Blind Spot as well?
Hayden filmed Blender, but he did not film Blind Spot.
Oh, okay. Oh, Blind Spot was Marty
John,
or
yeah,
John Stark or
John,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
because
but yeah,
Hayden's,
that just to add a little thing, like for us in our whole like main theme for Beacon was we want like movement, we want flow, like we just want like I don't know, we don't want static. We don't want like someone stopping after a trick. Like we want like constant like movement. I don't know
like in the
what it
screen.
was, but yeah, just like we almost wanted it to look like one full run. Like, you know, if you exaggerate, like I wanted it to look like one constant line from beginning to the end, you know.
That movie got movie of the year that year as well.
Hmm.
We're just throwing out awards out here like throughout this podcast. Let's like gold medals, rider of the year, video part of the year, film of the year. Were you happy with Blender when it came onto the scene? Were you like, this is something I'm proud of? Or were you like, damn it, we could have done better?
For Blender
Or no, sorry, for
or for
Beacon.
Beacon?
Blender
Uh,
was fucking awesome too, though.
no, yeah, no, for sure. I love Beacon. I was obviously super psyched, super, how well received it was. I think like we were like, I personally don't think it's it's that crazy, but I think like it must have been like something different enough where people were like, "Oh shit!" Like I don't know. Another thing that I wanted to connect with was maybe like people like people who aren't like super into like technicals, you know, the very technical aspect, like the nerds, you know. I was like, I kind of want like my uncles to like this, or like I kind of want like, you know, whoever to connect with this a little bit, you
Yeah,
know.
like a
But
film, and
yeah,
outside of like a classic snow porn
yeah,
movie.
and I think it kind of did it too. Like I remember getting like positive feedbacks from like my girlfriend's parents, or like
Cool.
obviously my parents will tell me like we loved it, but like you know, people who were like, you know, they're maybe expecting like a full like street segment or like a full street video, and they're like, oh shit, like there's a little bit of everything, and it's there's, you know, I don't know, yeah.
No, you should. That movie was when that movie came out, it was a game changer without a doubt. You started fucking jumping in Japan, and then you started jumping in Japan onto like ledges, and you mixed backcountry snowboarding with like street snowboarding, and then nobody knew what was going on anymore. I remember Kuzik. I remember Kuzik going over to Hayden's place and then texting me about like clips, being like, dude, I don't know what the fuck Louif's doing this year, but he's like incorporating backcountry to street, and it doesn't even make any sense anymore. It's like a new genre of snowboarding. And it literally did. When that movie came out, I was like, which another thing I'd like to add is like how awesome your snowboarding looks in Japan. It's like, I don't know what it is, but yours, because you never did the whole thing where a lot of French Canadians, once they like kind of blew up, they'd move to Whistler and that'd be their hub, and
Mhm.
buy a snowmobile, and that's it. And obviously a lot of your friends maintained just being like street rail riders. Um, but you just did street, but then one time I feel like you started going to Japan and you're like, well, I like Japan. I like street. Let's just incorporate the two together.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started going to Japan like even back in like 2006 was maybe my first trip, like, and then from that year I think I went every year, and I kind of like we would start going there like just really to jump and to be in like really deep snow and like to ride that stuff. But then like I started seeing like these structures and these like stuff that you don't really have here, because here we have like the city and like the mountains like this, and out there I feel like it kind of is more like it's a little more like you get a lot of deep snow in the
Everywhere.
city, and like yeah, like some of those structures like dams, like those are like my favorite thing to go ride at.
Oh yeah, your
Somehow.
board slide on the side of the dam, just like big old snow pow ledge. Like
Uh-huh.
that clip was so sick. Yeah, like there people have jibbed in the backcountry forever, but that was the first time I was like full on like urban snowboarding in the backcountry with like a lot of clips. It was fucking
Mhm.
dope.
Yeah, that was definitely a goal of mine too for Beacon, was like to try to get as much of this stuff as possible, and it still is to this day. I'm trying to get that's like my favorite stuff to do, and it's the most challenging that I find, and the most rewarding as well to like kind of like be on the like only a couple tries mode, you know, that you guys have in the backcountry, but like on like a street style feature, like a board slide where, you know, you can't even try the speed, you can't even try the landing, you just have to go for it and try it, and like hopefully, you know, go for first try, or like, you know, I dream of like doing that with like, I don't know, a 270, or like, you know, a backside lip slide on some stuff with like a fresh landing, or
That'd be so
I don't know.
sick.
That's just like, yeah.
Do you think moving forward you're gonna try and film like a blender, like a beacon too? Sorry, I keep mixing blender and beacon, but like another beacon. Are you gonna get together again and do one of those, or you think you're gonna be? What's the future have in store for you?
I mean, this winter is gonna be local.
Yeah, buzzkill, but truth.
Yeah, so, but there's a lot of positive in that. I think I'm gonna be snowboarding on a lot of stuff that I overlooked, maybe, and maybe like rethink my whole uh, country. Mostly, I think like province and even my region, really. But
Yeah, what about trying to like explore and go a little bit northern Quebec styles and try and find some backcountry out there somehow? That'd be sick.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely some stuff in like in Gaspésie, uh, out east a little bit. We have like a that's kind of where our biggest mountain chain is. So that's definitely on the list, but I don't know. There's in the future, yeah, I want to get like back on the Beacon level for sure. Um, I want to film more lines, but I also have a kid, and I'm definitely moving towards. I want to balance it more. So I'm not going to be able to have like a as good of a Beacon year because it's like I think Beacon. When I look back, I must have been gone for like the whole winter to be able to get like four really good, like quite long trips back to back.
Well, yeah, you want to be super dad now. Yeah, and if you're gone
Yeah,
all winter, like
yeah,
Beacon styles, it's like, yeah, you're gonna be, you can't be putting off 6 month shifts, or I mean, I'm assuming
yeah.
the ladies not gonna love that.
But luckily, I can do like cool snowboarding, and even like when we get like snowstorms and stuff, I can even do like some of my favorite stuff here, like some like some of that like fresh snow street stuff. I can find it around here, so I can drop my kid at daycare and go ride a spot and go get him again. But
That's
the
gonna be
only
sick.
the only crazy or the only thing is like I feel like we've explored Quebec. We have like you know how do you say like filtered it like over and over and
I
over.
mean, you're gonna have to sift through your street
Yeah,
spots like it's fucking 2008 again, and VG showed up in town, and they're all asking where are the new spots, and you're like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
You got to go to
Well,
the big red ledge that's gray now, and
yeah, you got to
go.
paint it a new color.
Yeah.
No, but now I'm like I'm going on Google Maps quite a bit. I'm like walking to like some like little weird places just to see if there's a spot. I'm
Did
like,
you find any new spots?
yeah, I still find some new for sure. Last
No
winter,
way.
yeah, I have some new places. Um,
What's your spot? You want to drop us a pin?
I'll drop.
Are
I'll
any
drop it.
Are any of the boys going to be coming out of retirement? Do you feel like Alex or anybody like that's going to like go ham this year? And now that you're home, maybe he'll want to come out and film some clips. I'd love to see another Canton part.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I think it's gonna be like more like at the hill. Like we'll go snowboard at Stoneham, and which is really sick. We actually all get together every year, and we go snowboarding like at where we all like at Stoneham, just where we all met, and I think we're gonna do it again this year. But
I mean, I hope so for your guys' sake. Get the band back together,
yeah,
literally, and start hanging out with. Um, I got a few more questions for you, and then I'll let Dad get some sleep. um, what do you think it takes now for kids coming up to like separate themselves? I mean, it's a new kind of world. You got Instagram and everything like that. If you were like a young kid, you're talking to someone that's like under 20 years old, what do you think they need to do to separate themselves?
um, I think like I was gonna say like you need like flavor. You need like something different, something, but like you don't want to like try too hard to like
To be different.
to be different, right? Like I think you just need like, I mean, these days it's all weird with Instagram and all that. So like that's really not even my domain. I feel like I'm like lucky that I made it before Instagram because like, and now I'm like, I'm not even really like, sometimes I feel like my sponsors maybe like don't necessarily like how bad I am to like with with the whole Instagram game. But anyways, I think like you just need a lot of passion. I think like you just need to be passionate and be like that's all you want to do. That's all you think about. I feel like that's the only recipe that I really know because that's the one I like that's the one that worked for me and also being with the group like teaming up with people because I feel like if you're just one individual you need to share this passion with someone with like a group and like kind of I feel like
100%.
that like a lot of this the success stories that I see even some of the younger dudes like even like for example like the Joy crew those dudes like Gabe Ferguson Sage um all those dudes they seem to work in like a unit right like
Yeah. Their
um
crew.
yeah yeah and you get so much from a crew you get so much like someone gets something like it pushes you to get something better or like and vice versa and so yeah I think like just really dive into just go for it like just go full on passion like dream about it at night like I don't know it just kind of happens naturally for me it just
Yeah, there's a level of obsession with it.
yeah
And I mean, if you're obsessed with it and then you're down to put the work ethic in and you look up to the right people and you kind of have a clue of the history, it's probably, it can all happen.
yeah
But I feel like somebody, I forget who said this on one of the episodes, but I really liked it. They said that the kids all want to be the heroes now, like on social media, they want to have the big following and be the heroes, where a lot of people like us grew up like having heroes and like, you watch the mags and look up to the pros. And I feel like a lot of kids these days are more obsessed with like them becoming the hero immediately, like from a young age. They want all the glory and they want to be like their own little star. And instead of like getting a lot of inspiration and getting drive from like other pros, which I feel like it's kind of true. The more kids I know, the more like they think they're the little star and they don't really like maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like when I was a kid there was a lot of people that I like really respected and look up to, and now I feel like a lot of kids like don't really have like a lot of the same like motivators. Maybe I could be wrong.
yeah I don't know I've seen both for sure I've seen younger kids that like they'll like right in front of you to try to impress you right like and then like some will I don't know they'll like be shy behind you because they kind of want to see you snowboard or something I don't know but
There's the mix.
yeah for sure there's a mix but
All right. um Underrated. You got a guy that you think is underrated and deserves a little bit more love. Maybe somebody that you're boarding with. Somebody deserves a little bit of maybe cash who's not getting the support or something like that. I just figured that you've been riding with a lot of like up and comers. I thought there might be a name that you want to throw out.
Mammut
Yes. Sick.
for sure like yeah Mammut
I love that
like
plug.
very like unique individual authentic but like charges like yeah there's no one like him and
Boom.
yeah
You heard it from the boss. All right. This is 4 questions or 5 questions I ask every guest at the end of the show. What's your fave Hollywood movie?
wait I'm gonna name the one that I used to watch over and over with my mom.
I love it.
It's called the. I would have to look it up, but what is it called? It's like, what do you call when someone like negotiate the negotiator? I think it's the
The
negotiator.
Negotiator. I've heard of that before.
It's
With Denzel
it's
Washington,
yeah, or Samuel Jackson, one of the
Samuel
two.
Jackson. I feel like it.
It's one of
Not
the two.
100% sure.
Yeah, I think it could be Denzel Washington though.
Well,
But
I'll
yeah, I don't
figure.
know. Like, there's more, but I remember like growing up and wanting to watch that one with my mom over and over. So I'll just say that.
Mom plug. Love it. Fave snowboard movie.
I'll
Beacon.
just I'll just go with Decade because I think that was my first like the first one that I watched like over and over and over, and that one like the music in it, the like if I watch it again, it's just kind of like it creates something, you know.
There's a
It,
feeling that's
there's a
attached to that video.
yeah,
When you
very
watch
much,
Decade, you're like,
very
wow.
much. But man, I don't know. There's so many.
All right. Next
Yeah,
question. Handful of guys that you like their snowboarding.
in the past or
Let's go
current.
let's go past and then semi-present.
Semi-present.
I don't know. It doesn't need to be fully this day. It could be like, like I don't know. Could be like Alex or freaking Jed or something, but then somebody before that. I
How
just
long
want to
can?
hear a few guys that you like looked up to throughout the years. How about that? That's a better question.
Okay.
A few guys that you've looked up to over the years.
Um, I've said them earlier. Well, like Jeremy Jones, Bjorn Linus, Peter Line, um, David Benedict, um,
Sick.
Justin Hebel, um, Mikey LeBlanc, Justin Benny, Eric Christensen.
Yo.
Dude,
Eric Christensen, switch nose blunt.
yeah, I know you'd like him too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got that switch as well. But yeah, like fun fact, I was really hyped on being on Solomon because Benny was on there too, and he was like kind of different. He was like, you know, I thought he was the sickest out of all the Tech Nine dudes. Like he had the best like 90 degrees front boards, like dope shit, and then like 2 years or like maybe 1 year later he got dropped from Solomon. But
Damn, and
but
you wanted him on there.
he was basically the reason, him and Benedek and Dirksen, but I wanted to be on there because he was on there.
That's a sick shout out, Justin Benny. He's definitely one of my favorites since
But
moment of truth.
yeah. Um Nowadays, I mean, I don't know, there's so many like there was all the Kingpin movies too, and Scotty Whitlake, I was into him. Jeff Anderson. Um,
Dude, Jeff Anderson was fucking sick.
yeah, he had the sickest style. Seth Hewitt, actually, I was down for like his shakedown part.
Big time.
Yeah. Nowadays, I mean, Danimals, Jake Kuzik, Jed for sure, Tommy. Yeah, there's just a ton of people.
Those are good rail dudes. Let's get a few backcountry surf pow guys.
Archer Longo comes to mind.
Yeah, Arthur's fucking the best.
Severin. I mean, I like. I don't know. There's too many. Let me think. The Pow World.
There's so many Pal World people. It's just like, where do you even start? Kazu's pretty fun to watch out there. He's
Yeah,
somebody I
for
really
sure.
like. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
The whole Japanese squad is sick.
yeah, Shuhei,
I've
Kohei.
always been
Yeah.
a big fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Taka Nakai was
Yeah, exactly. Taka's super sick.
Kohei Kudo.
I don't know if I know that one. Oh, yo, there
Yeah,
was
he had a Transworld part, but
yeah.
Kohei's like the former pipe rider, smooth operator. He has like really cool trick selection. Um, yeah.
Sick. All right. That's dope. Little plug there for all those boarders. Favorite book.
To be honest, unfortunately, I'm not much of a reader.
I
I
know I'm
wish
gonna
I
stop
was.
asking this one. I
I
added that
wish I
question,
was.
and no one has answered it well on a snowboard podcast. I'm gonna
Yeah,
delete that one.
I wish I was, but and I keep promising myself I'm like one day I'm gonna get like take the time to start reading because I know it's good for you. I know I want to do it, but I just don't have the time. I have like so much other shit to do, so much like yeah. But I want to slow down eventually, and I want to start reading. Yeah.
Favorite album or favorite musician. To simplify it, what album do you think you listen to most throughout your lifetime?
Um, Hayden introduced me to Mogwai, and I think this is maybe like one that I really connected with. Um,
Mogwai. I
it's
don't
just
know if I know
yeah,
that.
it's like it's like ambient. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to listen to it. Mogwai. I like it.
Mogwai, Mogwai. There's it's that Japanese section in Beacon is Mogwai.
No way.
Mhm.
All right. I'll take a look at Mogwai. All right. And the last question is one piece of life advice.
You should have given me that top 5 question like a little ahead of time. I could have prepared.
That's why
Um,
no one gets to prepare, dude. I should have, though.
yeah, I mean, I would say like don't. I wish I had a good like in 2 hours. I'm gonna be like, fuck, I should have said that. But I was just gonna say like, don't let people tell you what to do. Like, don't let like other people, judge your ideas and like if you're feeling like solid about something, like just go with it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I was so passionate about snowboarding and I would like maybe say it to my teachers or to my parents and they would be like, yeah, but like maybe I don't know, like you should not, you should do something else. And like it's like no, like I'm so passionate about this, like I'm going in, like I'm seeing these people in videos, like I'm fucking doing this. Like this is me in 10 years kind of deal. Like I don't know. I just feel like if you have like if you're passionate about something, just go for it. Go for it.
That's
Whatever it is, like if it's music, like maybe like people will tell you no, you can't like make a living out of it, but I think you can figure it out. I think you can rethink, what what normal is and what like yeah. And also like I think like if something's not been done, if like someone tells you like no one's done that before, like I think if you think it's possible, you should still pursue it because I think it's yeah, a lot of a lot of stuff hasn't been done yet and it's going to be done soon kind of
I
thing.
mean, if you would
So
look
yeah.
at your whole career at probably 15 and somebody would say to you, do you think that you will get, X Games medals and winning video part of the year, rider of the year, movie of the year, and be doing it until, into your into your 30s and, do you think that you would be able to accomplish all that? And if at 15 you might be like, well, no. But I mean, it all happened.
Yeah, for sure. Like the other day I got a DM from David Benedict, and it was still like I was like 10 years, 15 years ago. You know, I don't know, like it was so it's still unreal to me that like I grew up like idolizing this person and now like I know him and I can like chat with him or you know, like he he messages me like it's like think about like when I first saw OptiGrab and I watched his part like
OptiGrab was sick.
you know. Yeah, so I don't know.
I like it, dude.
I'm gonna have a better advice like in 2 hours though. So
Perfect.
I'm yeah.
Louif, you're an absolute boss, dude. Big fan of your snowboarding and your humble and tasteful approach to this whole thing. I've personally drawn a lot of inspiration from your boarding, especially over the last few years as you incorporated street rail riding into POW, as I mentioned.
Thank you.
And I mean, just your power riding in general. I just really like how you look out there. You have this cool front seven Japan off of like a little step down, and then you kind of go through the hallway of these trees after. That clip always really
Yeah, I need to
like
get another one of those, maybe
that
bigger,
was
maybe
so cool,
popular.
dude.
I was like
My
on a step
favorite
down.
is the ride out because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
land and then you do this cruisy little turn through
Mm.
these like trees, and I'm like, if he would have fucked that up, you would have died. Those trees were thick. Oh,
I'd
I
like
love
to do
that
one
shot.
on like I'd like to do one on a popular thing one day, you know? Like, you know, Blauvelt always finds like these corners.
Yeah, he's the king of finding that mini little AK spine and then
Uh-huh,
just doing
uh-huh.
exactly that trick. Aero Nimala actually has a really good front seven Japan. Um,
Yeah, does he does some cab, doesn't he? Like switch front side?
maybe the one I'm thinking about, I'm pretty sure is just front
Is
seven Japan, and it's
yeah.
similar, but it's fucking cool. Not a lot of people do that trick, dude. So when I saw you do that off a stupid little step down that made no sense that you could get that trick around, I was like, what the? It was amazing, dude. So stay healthy, continue to film video parts so all of us can be inspired. And thank you very much for coming on the show. I know
Thank you.
juggling,
Thank you for having me.
being a father, and in these times and stuff, setting aside some time is difficult. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that was easy. Bedtime for him and podcast time for me.
Perfect. Well, have a good season, boss. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. Peace.